In our last video, we talked about build-out costs and timeline. We went through the stages of making a makerspace, and we've evaluated the costs. In this video, we are going to talk about the team. I am Ina, and we are filming in the material library today. Behind the camera is also Monica, who is going to ask me questions. So, let's get started. We're going to start with the question that we've been starting with for the past videos. Are you a maker looking for inclusion, or are you an educator looking to build a makerspace? This also can define the team that you are working with. So now that you have defined your space, you know how big it is, and you know what you want to do in that space, it's time to think about who you're going to be doing it with. You can think of the team as two entities. The one that keeps the space going and the machines working, and the one that is used to teach and interact with the people coming in the space. Here at Node Makerspace, we are focused on the facilities and on the equipment, on keeping it going, having it work properly, but also engaging with the community, creating a space where everybody can come and just jump in and do their thing. The user profile at Node Makerspace is focused on makers who are of age, self-conscious and responsible for their own safety. The team at Node Makerspace is compiled of a general director, a facilities manager, member services, development, programs, PR and marketing, and full-time trainers. The executive director is the head of the entire operation. It is the primary point of contact and the one that defines strategy. Facilities manager is the one that makes sure that everything runs smoothly. A facility manager assures maintenance, makes sure that the makers have everything they need and that everything works properly. It is a very important position because as a manager, you will not have the time to make sure that everything runs smoothly from a technical point of view. This is a position that you are going to need to have filled out sooner rather than later. So if you are an educator that is just starting out a makerspace, make sure that you have that person that has technical knowledge and that can keep your machines working. Member services are the ones that make sure that everything runs smoothly. They answer emails, they talk on the phone, they talk with the members of the community, and they are an in-between management and community. Development is your research group. They hunt for grants and they think of projects. Programs. These are activities that you do that bring you a source of income. They develop classes and programs as a source of income. What types of programs depend on your audience and on your profile. When it comes to inclusion, if the activities that you are planning are not something that you want to make a profit out of, then programs will partner with the research department and you will look for grants that would cover those costs. PR and marketing. In an ever-growing digital world, it is very important to get yourself out there and get yourself known and also reach the right audience. So the PR and marketing department is very important. Depending on the size of your space, you may have a larger PR team or a smaller PR team, but you need to keep in mind that you have to keep constantly communicating with the public if you want them to know about your projects and get excited about them enough to come and do them at your space. A full-time trainer. Makerspaces have different ways of teaching people how to use the equipment. Some have a jump straight into the water approach, where you just dive in and learn as you go. Some have a more structured program. Depending on the type of audience that you work with, you may need to have initiation programs set in place where people are taught the rules of the space and how to use equipment. When we are talking about activities with children, a full-time trainer will be one that would present the space, will also set the rules and guidelines, like you don't run with scissors, you don't look at lasers, and will make sure that everybody respects those guidelines. Now, these are a couple of roles, but you don't necessarily need a person for each of the roles. You can be a trainer and you can research for grants. This also depends on the size of your space and what kind of activities you want to do. In a school-based makerspace, you have teachers who are the primary drivers of the events. So you already have the trainers, as we call them, the people who are going to interact with your public. So what you would need is a technically savvy person that knows how to take care of the equipment and do maintenance. I visited a school Fab Lab a couple of years ago, and even though they did not have a very, very big space and a lot of equipment, they still needed somebody that would make sure that everything runs smoothly. Because when it comes to curious children touching the equipment, you're 100% guaranteed that things are going to break somehow. Another question. The educators are the ones that will be interacting directly with the children. These people not only have the technical skills, but know how to communicate with the target audience. But before you can go on with any activities, you need to make sure that the space is set up and it is safe, so it follows safety guidelines, which you need to make sure that are set and that you respect, and the equipment needs to be working. So even though the educators are doing the big bulk of the work when it comes to time, you are going to need that technical savvy person, that facilities manager that makes sure that all the equipment is working and you have everything you need when you start the classes. A lot of Maker for Inclusion activities have electronics in them, which means that you need to have the proper equipment, the proper electronic equipment, and you need to have somebody that knows how to work with electronics and how to explain it. So PR and marketing sounds like a very big department. It can be a very big department, and it can be a very expensive department. But it doesn't need to be like that. You just need to always have somebody that is aware that if you don't talk about it, it might as well not have happened. Which is not true for the people who are taking place in the activities, but if you want the world to know what you're doing, then you need somebody to talk about it. You need somebody to post about it on social media. You need somebody to invite maybe the local newspaper. So in the case of a smaller makerspace that does not have the budget for a big PR department, you need to assign this role to somebody in the team, somebody who will take pictures and somebody who will post about it on your social channels. It is very important that you do have some social channels. For every grant, you need to have proof of your activities. So it's very good to keep a portfolio of the things that you've done, just so whenever that project comes along, you can show people that you not only have the experience, but you've been through it a couple of times, so you know how everything works. For more information on this, check out our website, which Florin will put up here, and download our Maker Education Guide. Yeah? Okay.